Hello, Joe Simmons here. I write children's books, and today I'm going to read a bit to you from my latest book called I Stole My Genius Sister's Brain. So this story is about a kid called Keith and his sister, Min. Now his sister actually is a proper genius who wins loads of prizes and awards for all the stuff she knows. She knows everything. And when Keith kind of gets wind of all this, he decides maybe he'd like to have a go at being a genius too. So here we go, chapter 1. Keith woke to the sound of screaming. Ah! It was his sister, Min. There was more screaming, even closer this time. Lucky socks! Min yelled right in his face. Wah! Keith screamed back. Now, even more screaming coming from downstairs. Mum this time. Min, hurry up! We cannot be late. This made Min scream more, standing there, mouth open like a tunnel, which made Keith scream more, staring at her from his bed, eyes wide. Then, as quickly as it had started, the screaming stopped. Whoa, that was intense, Keith said. Remind me what we were screaming about? I've lost my lucky socks, said Min, which is a disaster, as it's the final of the under-14s chess and Irish dancing competition. I have to win. Quickly, help me look. Instead of just lying there like a slug, is that what you're going to do all day? Maybe, said Keith. Oh, for goodness sake, Min shrieked. I can't remember the last time I was allowed to just lie in bed. Get up and help me. Keith got out of bed, opened a drawer, and began lobbing random socks at his sister. Are these them? What about these? He said. Get off, you numpty, Min shouted, throwing socks back at Keith. Maybe this pair? Keith said, hitting Min right in the face. Ooh, you little... Min had grabbed a pillow and was about to bring it down on Keith's head when their mum appeared, waving a pair of green socks with unicorns on. Found them, they were under your quantum physics textbook. Then she suddenly looked stern. Were you two messing about? Min? There's no time for messing around. Ever. Child geniuses do not mess around. Let's go, go, go. Dad's already in the car. Victory awaits. She dashed off down the corridor, then dashed back and popped her head round the door. By the way, good morning, Keith. We'll be out until about 7 p.m. There's some bread in the freezer, I think, for breakfast. Then she was gone again. Keith ran after her. Wait, Mum, I need to talk to you about the Inventors' Fair in Paris. I've worked out I only need £500 to go. Not this again, Keith, she said. It's too far away and too expensive. But I could learn so much there. We could all go, a holiday. I've said once, no, and I'll say it again. No, said his mum, slamming the front door. Bye, said Keith. Keith heard the family car pull away. He went back to bed, where he daydreamed about the Inventors' Fair in Paris, which he wanted to go to more than anything else. All those amazing futuristic inventions, all those brilliant inventors from around the world. Maybe they'd even take a look at some of his gadgets and creations. Then he daydreamed about everyone suddenly coming home again, right now, saying, we changed our minds. Let's all spend the day together and have loads of fun. And yes, you can go to the Inventors' Fair, Keith. We'll book the tickets this minute. Keith lay in bed a bit longer. Nobody reappeared. He was still alone. This was not unusual. And it wasn't the first Saturday that he'd been left behind while his parents and sister Min had dashed off early to a competition. Ballet or fencing or tossing the caber or whatever it was Min got up to. Min was a child genius, gifted and talented. Fine. Keith didn't mind. He had his own interests, such as his extremely important experiments and inventions. Keith got out of bed and checked on his latest experiment, investigating if toenails can still grow when no longer attached to toes. He had some nail clippings in a glass of water, some in a pot of soil, and some stuck into a sausage, which, since it was full of protein, Keith reckoned was a very good growing medium. Before this experiment, there had been the one to discover if worms can swim. They can't. Or if bananas melt if you put them on the radiator. Not exactly. Or if you can freeze custard. Oh, yeah. Keith jotted down his findings in his extremely important experiments and inventions book. Saturday, 7 a.m, no change. Then something shiny caught his eye. It was the key to Min's room lying on his bedroom floor. It must have fallen out of her pocket while she was screaming her head off. Min almost always kept her room locked, whether she was inside it or not. Keith hadn't been in it for over 2 years. He didn't care. He wasn't that interested in Min's life as a genius, although he did sometimes wonder what she got up to in there. And, since he had nothing else to do, the key turned lightly in the lock. He pushed the door open and saw... Holy fog! Gold, silver, jewels, cups, treasures, trophies, brightly coloured ribbons, gleaming medals everywhere. Keith's mouth fell open like a trapdoor. Min had won everything. Quizzes, competitions, junior championships, galas, more quizzes. Keith gazed at the medals and trophies and certificates all over her walls and on the shelves and in the little cabinet. In amongst them were motivational messages in his mum's handwriting. It's not the taking part, it's the winning that counts. Success tastes sweet, but more success tastes even more sweet. If you're not winning, what are you doing with your life? Keith frowned. The only message his mum had ever written down for him was a scribbled note saying, "Don't leave wet towels on the floor." Then Keith spotted the photos, Min receiving her awards with mum and dad in the background grinning. Then, hang on a minute. In some photos, Min was holding a giant cheque. Prize money, Keith spluttered. Nobody told me there was prize money. Keith sat on Min's bed and thought, wow, Min's got it good. Not only did she have mum and dad driving her to competitions and cheering her on, it now turned out people gave her prizes and money, actual money. Then Keith had a new thought, a new and very powerful thought. What if I won a competition? Then I could trouser the prize money and bisto, I'm off to the Inventors Fair in Paris. Mum and Dad won't take me, so I'll take myself by winning a giant cheque. All I have to do is be a genius like Min. How hard can it be? So there you go, guys, that's chapter 1. And you need to read on to find out what happens to Keith on his adventures in being a genius, raising the money to get to that Inventors Fair. How hard can it be? Stay well, everybody. Take care. Thanks a lot. Bye.